September 3rd.
It's going to be a confusing show.
Oh my God.
All of us.
I don't know how they're gonna be able to handle this because there's just so much going on today that instead of creating more, they're like go back to the past.
Well, some of it's matching up, especially the energy part.
Right. So
Let's see, here we go. Oh, there's Suzanne. Hello.
Oh, I don't want to confuse everybody, but boy, I don't know how I'm going to get around this tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a head scratcher tonight as you're scratching your head.
Oh, yeah. Wait till I get in here to understand that this is going to get nuts. So there's one, hey guys, we're going after past predictions in all the downloads because I was going to do the new downloads, but they're saying all the stuff that I have as I'm going through it, I'm seeing more that's consistent in what's happening right now. So we have to get through the past predictions of information before we go to the ones that are new, current for 5D. Okay, so here's this one. I just popped this one up. The message. Look over everything, all kinds of angels and aliens. Ice cracks, energy everywhere. Core planet. Artifacts are surfacing to the top. And this was August of last year. So, everybody, I'm telling you, you're going to be scratching your head tonight because we're going back through past predictions that kind of relate to the energy and what's going on today. But there was stuff I read that even Jeep was like, no.
Not today.
Not today, because it's, as I read it, it is, it's confusing because the dialogue of it is I have to figure it out. So we're going to go back to stuff that is applying to today because there's stuff getting crazy. So wait for a lot of people to get in before then too.
Or answer a question while you're waiting.
Yes, of course.
You see earthquakes hitting California soon.
Yes, I don't think there's no stopping that, and that's why I keep telling people to get out before October, or you're not going to be able to get out. So, because that's an area that has to be cracked open, is the word I would say.
Thank you.
And I am still doing the specials for the readings. You want to take advantage of that now. Okay. So, and that's the thing about the California. I mean, the part of it cracking open and cracking. You know what's funny is on the deck clock, you see the Caesar coin, but you see all this, the surface cracking.
Right.
No, and that's the first thing I thought was everything's gonna be opened up. And because it has to be opened up. Right. Kim, Teresa, hey guys. So this is going to be a night you're going to scratch your head because I'm going through some core predictions that has been showed up, you know, within the last year of stuff, and now even Jeep was talking about the energy, and I just explained it in a dialogue as she was talking about it. So it's going to get interesting. And so if you get confused, you're going to have to replay this over and over, because it will reference back to some of the old predictions. So I'll start with a few questions before we go into the massive confusion.
Okay. Any news on Australia? Have anything on that?
I think that is in a standstill moment. Like, I think that everything's waiting on the states right now. I think the states are at a point of cracking, as in the Kraken. You know, I believe that that's coming, and I think, you know, what's the game that you used to play? Is the ship's all surrounded around a certain area, just waiting to enclose in on the enemy. So,
yes,
yes,
that was it.
Like the battleship. Yeah, I wanted to go home too. Didn't read the fine print.
No, we all missed it.
Yeah, we missed it big time. And we also missed it and didn't know that this energy, when they talk about ascension, they didn't tell us how painful it was going to be for our physical bodies.
Mm-hmm.
That was not described either. So that is another conversation I would like to have about the painful head trauma, the surges, the jawline pain, and it's
the back pain.
Yep. The feeling like we're in the ocean and we have weight at the bottom of our feet. Mm-hmm. It's getting old.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with, now this date on this, and this came up on the news, was it a month ago? A month ago. And this is posted, I printed this up 10/11/22. Now I talked about Antarctica. Keep an eye on Ross ice shelf. Back then I said keep an eye on this area because something was going to happen to it. Oh, did that happen a month ago? Was it a month ago that they had some major shifting in this area?
I think it's a little less than that, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was, I specifically was on this exact area, Ross ice shelf. It's printed up 10/11/22. So we're not done with this area.
No,
we are not done.
I think it was the Weather Channel that showed that yesterday or today.
That was, let me find that one. I got a picture somewhere. So that would have been this picture that I showed 10/10/22, because we're working on that same area at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
All the red that you're seeing on the news now.
Right.
All that red surface coming to the top there, all that. No, it doesn't mean nothing. Yeah, whatever. So the ruby, here we go with all this surfacing to the top again. So, but with this surfacing, we talked about these ships surfacing in the area because everything had to surface to the top. Big ships. So this is where I want to talk about this. So I'm going to, because it's been in a, I asked Spirit today about the sun. Oh, what do you want to call it? It's not the sun. I'm going to tell you what I think that is. The way the light is and how it moves, and I've seen some things going in and out towards it. It is like a big ship that has a spotlight. And that's my conclusion on that, is because it is not the sun. The rays from it are not anything that the animals want to be around. We're not feeling anything. If you look at that and look at the way it shines, that's what it feels like. And in one of these downloads, it talks about all the ships, right? In it just came across it. So my conclusion, that is not the sun. There's a big spotlight.
It's hot, hot, hot. Yes, it is.
Hot, hot, hot. But not, your body is not getting nothing from it. It is not feeling pulled to sit in it. It's not being, you're not seeing, like I said, you're not seeing cats lay on the sidewalk and absorb it. It's like a car headlight, but in a futuristic way, but it's not doing the shit for you on any process. So I do not believe that that is the sun. I believe that, like I said, I believe there's one inner Earth, and I believe that's when the eclipse happened, whatever you want to call that, whatever they did at that time, and I believe that that's when they replaced it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I am not buying bullshit about the sun, and I keep hearing like July is it. Even if you think about it, if you're going on a boat and how the sun reflects on water, it's not feeling the same. There's not that warmness.
No.
It's missing. It's missing.
No.
And we're not drawn out to sit in that energy. We are feeling secluded. Ask Maxine today. She was just like, what is this energy? But secluded away from it, staying in your house, staying away from it, and it's just not making you feel completely normal at all. So prove me wrong on that sun, because that's not a sun.
No, doesn't feel like it.
So
Jennifer's mentioning, she said, is the heart chakra doing something? I had to go to the ER. Thought that it was, but they didn't find anything. That's this energy.
It's energy.
Everything.
And blood pressure, like one day it's low and the next day it's normal. And, that's the whole thing. I mean, our whole, because we're made of energy and we're getting these upgrades. I mean, it feels like muscles and vibration we haven't used forever. And it feels sore to go through it. And this is the thing where Spirit said there's going to be days you're not going to get out of your bed. You're not going to want to do anything. And they are right.
Yes, that's true. Today was one of them.
So if you guys want to learn more about it, and I'm teaching a class on this too. So okay, let's confuse them more. Got all these, and this is the thing about on this channel. People are like, "Can you describe a little more?" I'm like, well, okay. Let me slow down.
Just a little bit.
Just go back to all the videos and start there. Okay. Okay, so here we go, starting into some of this energy. All I see is all kinds of crystals, blue, white, green, understanding energy, and then compartments of stones. I want to use the word compartments. This was in 2021 and I wrote this one. And the use of the energy. So it's like dimensional, and then it says this ground, it'll ground you at your feet, like you're at the bottom of the ocean. That's where we probably should be dealing with all this stuff. We should actually be in the ocean. I guarantee you that's where we were before, and we dealt with it better than we do on the surface. I guarantee you. So stones that have to be in the right coordinates of the planet for the grid. And it does say underwater, tall trees blooming. So I believe there's trees underwater, and I believe the grid, one of the main grids, is underwater. So let's repeat this again. I see all kinds of crystals, blue, white, green, understanding the energy and compartments of the stones that we use as energy. And then that green one, which is always the important one, that's always connected to pyramids. I'll give them a minute to understand that before we rush off to another one. I just often wonder if we were all underwater, we'd be dealing with this better. Or if we flipped, by now we would be dealing with the energy better than we were a long time ago. So we're in this process that everybody's trying to go into their crystal line, because that's the problem. I think we are discarding this old vessel that is no longer. And wait till we get into those quotes that I said that we have just gone through, and I wrote it a couple of years back. We'll go back through that. Okay. Now this is where we start with the Caesar and Alexandria. I just pulled this up today.
Right.
And deck clock had a Caesar coin on there.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna be mad at me on this one. Like, what did you just say? I don't know.
Well, might as well.
Quotes and downloads, I cannot change the way I get it. So you're just going to have to allow it to sit in the mind and strategize and put it together. It's just the way I have to do it. Okay, before we do this, quartz of Arkansas rocks coming up from weeds like our gardens. Okay. I have to give it to us. Okay. Sandstone, deep salt. So you have the sandstone and then very deep in the salt. Tell history tales of cells. Feeling historical temples, dunes area. And it shows a pyramid, and it shows these layers going down the pyramid. Okay. So sandstone, deep salt, deep history tales of these cells. Feeling historical temples and dunes. That's the beginning of it. History. It says between the third and the fourth level important. So in those, and I believe this is in the temples, because they talk about feeling the historical temples of Dune areas. And it says between the third and the fourth level, the history is important. Okay. Quarters are small, sand, kind of sinks down. Okay, and then they show these bathing areas, which I don't know what that means. Ceremonies of power, strength, Roman times, high pillars, Egyptian, Alexandria. Okay, this is quoted exactly the way it's channeled, so don't get mad at the sender. Don't get mad at the messenger.
That's it.
Sandstone, deep salt, deep. Tell the history tales of the cells. Tan. Feeling historical temples, dune areas. Third and fourth levels are important. Quarters, small, sand, sink. And these pools. So wondering if those were healing pools. Ceremonies of power. Challenges and strength. Romans, times, high pillars, Egyptian, and Alexandria. Which we connected Alexandria to Seer. Yep. So what this basically goes down to is the pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
I've always seen the pyramids, and I've talked to Ross about this, I'll use this as an example. So as you have the pyramids, and on top, they're showing like these palaces on top of the pyramids, and what happened to them. This is just a description they showed me.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why was it like this? So what I'm saying as our history, like where everybody knows that our history they describe to us is not the truth. And now we're going back to unraveling all of this. But the thing that gets me on this is, like I said, the historical temples and the dunes and the areas. Because if you look at any of these pyramids, there's a lot of discovery and how everything was functioning and how everything was working. But they're specific on the third and the fourth levels of importance in history. So sand sinking, it's almost like a hourglass.
Yeah.
And then bringing up the pool. So, and then the challenges of strength, the time of the Egyptian and Alexandria. It's crazy. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Think they're confused on that one? Wait.
I think we're all confused. Yeah, I know.
So these levels, and this is all have to do with the activation. I think it has to do with all the activation that's coming. So everybody's going to be like, what were you talking about? Everything. So we're a little past, a little future.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Could be, another subject. Could be formed to another dimension more advanced as we think it is in the 3D, but maybe in another city above the ocean in the sky with power unknown to man, but far away from harm. Cities that go into the sky and reach to the oceans, but can detach itself with the right power and turn on. See, this all uh, is Atlantis again.
Mm-hmm.
When I do the drawings, I saw these power surges going up, and these again with these plates. So half of the water out of the water, and half of it in the water. And I see all the animals and humans working together and talking hand in hand. Could have been the time, you know. And then I know this has to do because it has to do with a coin that showed silver around it, and then half of it was an aqua looking blue.
That same blue, the sky ice blue?
But it had they always show the silver, and then inside there's this blueness. So as a more advanced beings, as they could be from another dimension with more advanced beings, as we think it's in the 3D, but maybe another city above the ocean, in the sky with power unknown to man, but far away from harm as the cities. They go into the skies and reach to the oceans, but can be attached by itself within the right power, turning it on. You guys wanted something else to think about, so we're just going back and forth. So, because we're sitting back here looking at things in a dimensional way, and it's our history that's been hidden and not told to us the right way, and can't rely on science anymore. So we have to go by our instinct and what feels right and what we find in the ground that is in truth and what we find in the ocean that reveals the truth. That is how you're going to get to the core of things, finding it. Okay, this is where we talked about ships are everywhere. You have no idea how many are above you. Clones are being moved to barges by the sky. Water is being drained and pulled down into the center of Earth to move others to the surface. So let's talk about, they used in, was it Canada, that they talked about water being turned off and stuff like that. So I'm just going to use this as an example because we're just referencing ships that are everywhere. You have no idea how many are above you. Clones are being moved to barges by the sky. Water is being drained and pulled down to the center of Earth to move other ships to the surface. Can you imagine going down and then that water with its pressure going up and then it brings it up?
Right.
This would be two areas that I think Antarctica again. Something's going to happen with the ice wall like a river flowing. All water in all areas. So what has happened is a lot of everything is melted. And then you're seeing unusual sea creatures appear. Right?
Right.
We are unable to see them. That is true because it's like some of the cities in the sky because they're like shimmer. How I did the drawing on that shimmer looking cities. It looks like glass plate. It doesn't look like a city that you think. You're just going to get the outline of it. I did a color drawing of that one. So this is that part that let's go back to the sun, that I think is
the fake sun, a light bulb.
and This is how you want to pay attention. You want to be paying attention to whatever that process is up there and what you're seeing coming in and out of it. You know what I'm saying? They're coming in and out of it. And that's going to tell you a lot how it moves. Does it look like just an opening? Because this is the thing. I'm looking at that and there's just no yellow around it. There's no form of light in a sun ray at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's a troll in here.
Yeah, I took care of it.
Probably porn. Anyway, okay. Let's move on to another one. So, souls walking through light colors with white and pink glitter. We talked about the pink and the glitter, right? Soft blue eyes, core of energy, water under ice. The body doesn't get affected. Yellow light comes from the hands. I'm going to talk about this. Calm down others. Sounds of the mouth echo through the voice. Healing of the lands to bring healing to the planet. And the nerves and the trees and the water and the pain of it all flying in the universe. Okay, so looking at this concept, souls walking. That's the first thing it says. Light colors, white with pink glitter. Like, you know, this pinkness. Soft steps of blue eyes of the core of the energy. Water under ice. The temple of the body doesn't get affected. Yellow light from the hands. Calm down others. Sound in the mouth echoes a voice of healing from the land to bring healing to the planet and the nerve, the trees and the water, and the pain of it all flying into the universe. What does that tell you? With the consistent, I'm like gonna warm us right now. What's going on right now? Everybody's got to listen to this again.
Yeah, I think the whole thing.
Let me repeat this again. Souls walking, light colors with white and pink glitter. So this is a 5D concept. Blue eyes is the core of the energy. Water under ice of the body that doesn't get affected. Yellow light comes from the hands that calm down others. Sound of the mouth echoes the voice. Healing of the land to bring healing to the planet. And the nerves of the trees and the water of the pain of it all flying into the universe. See, that's not a human. We know that.
No, it can't be.
Energy and a frequency and a conscience. So what I get out of this, yellow light from the hand, calm down others. Would this be our upgrade? Would this be something that we're moving into? The echo of the voice that healings the lands to bring to the planet and the nerves of the trees and the water of the pain of it all. Are we in pain? In the nerves?
I don't know. It says the one that's not affected. So we're all being affected at the moment.
We are.
Yeah, healing palms for some, yes. I agree with that, Lenore.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe this is where some people are going. Some people are going to that point where they will have those
right.
healing palms that are going to help
But they
others.
are saying right now these beings are blue eyes.
Right.
Core. Okay, and you've seen some of these um, star seeds, and they have the blue. I don't know if you've seen them. They have the bluest, illuminating blue eyes. Um, so the light colors with white and pink glitter. So that's the aura around them. The soul walking in light colors of pink, which is always that pink color they show you in white. Soft steps of blue eyes, a core of energy. So you would be paying attention to the energy. And then it says the water under ice. Is that where they're coming from? The body doesn't get affected. Yellow light comes from the hands. Calm down others, sound in the mouth and the echo of the voice. Healing of the lands to bring healthy to the planet and the nerves and the trees and the water and the pain of in the universe. And I keep getting this warm energy, and I know everybody understands this warm energy that surrounds you when you're at that consistent balance. You know, the glitter could be a conscience. It could be in the high perception of, because those are like those colors, and there's always light behind them.
Right.
We're getting into modern day, right?
I wonder if the glitter being consciousness is correct because spirit just messed with your focus.
Again?
When you were talking about that your focus was getting messed up, like how they like to, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're just confirming. I don't know.
Can you imagine like someone on my YouTube that's just new and that's new, you know how it works, and they're like, what the hell is she talking about?
I
That's
know.
the biggest thing about me. Unless you know me, you're going to be like completely confused by how I don't know. But you know, like I said, the spiritual language is not the English language. It is exactly how they present it, and it's specific on how they want it, and that's why I don't change it.
Right.
I can feel the back of my head right now as we're talking about that. Okay, surfacing inland will come to the top of the water. The hidden temples will appear from the seas to the skies, and the sky will become active again as it was in the past. Let's just stop at that area right there before. Surfacing inland will come to the top of the water. It'll surface. It'll become inland. And the hidden temples will appear from the sea to the sky. So from a sea level to a sky level. Again, as it was in the past.
Mm-hmm. It says we're getting our spiritual gifts / missions and assignments.
Mm-hmm. And this is the thing, that people are so confused of what's going on with them, you know, how they're ascending, what they're going through, and no one's explaining this.
Right.
They're just saying, you need to wake up. You need to. No one's explaining the pain that you go through. It's not explaining any of this. You know, this is why I went back to all this. Now, here we go. A light of many colors will appear to the ones who have used their third eye for many years in advance. I'm going to stop right there.
Mm-hmm.
This was done in July of 2021. Light of many colors will appear to the ones who have used their third eye for many years in advance. Your oneness will in advance. Your oneness will be to feel the true energy. Are we feeling that now?
I wouldn't think it would be so painful, but
Your oneness will be feeling the true energy. You know, time will be no more for you. Right? Everybody having a problem with time? Because I am.
Yeah.
Advance your oneness will be to feel the true energy. Time will be no more for you. Oh, the chat room is going to fall up on that one because everybody's having that problem on this. Diagrams and images from the past will be in your inner self. Psychic ability. So, and then psychic items of the 3D world will no longer be a desire. Are we at a stage right now for food and everything that they can throw us is not working?
No.
In your inner self and psychic ability items of the 3D world will not be a desire of your soul. We don't desire it. We don't want it. We don't want to be appeased by it. We don't want to be a part of it. Sleeping minds will change forever. Night skies will be full of light from a new world. I don't know if anybody in the group can tell me they have desire for anything that they're giving us right now, because I don't.
No.
I mean, this fits to what we're going through. And so the light of many colors will appear to the ones who have used their third eye for many years in advance. Your oneness will be to feel the true energy. Time will be no more for you. And it's not like looking at a clock. You're feeling like you're losing an understanding of time.
Right.
That's what I was teaching in a class today. It's like that structure of staying on the path of time is losing the effect. It's losing, and then whether it's that program that they put into us in that clocks process, we're not there no more. And so no one wants to talk about this, and I can see it all through the internet. They're not telling you what's happening to you. They're not telling you what your spiritual body's going through, what's affecting you, what you're losing. They're not explaining it because they just want to say nothing.
Now, the colors you mentioned, the prism-like colors, remember some of us were noticing in our peripheral vision of the shimmering that we've been picking up on. You think that's part of that?
That shimmering, yeah, that shimmery effect that we're dealing with. I mean, it's like we're talking about. I mean, and like 5 years ago, death seems like this fear process, and now I can tell you, people in the group they're just like, they don't care. They know it's not the same process anymore.
Yeah.
So you're getting out of that fear process already. If you're already evolving into what you're supposed to be activating into, which a lot of us are, light of many colors will appear to the ones who have used their third eye in many years of activation. So if you start so I'm seeing, masters and people have done this for 30 years, and they're admitting it, but they're not like, I'm not an idiot, like, I can't say that as a professional. Who cares? This stuff is ascending is painful. You need to be honest about it, because we're discarding this form of this vessel that we're in because we have no more use for it.
Mm-hmm.
Sleeping minds will change forever. I wonder if that's the bucket thing. Night skies will be filled with light from a new world.
Mm-hmm. If we can see it, if they're not covering it with clouds.
Oh, well, that ain't clouds, that's fog.
Yeah, right.
Today was the first time I felt clear. It wasn't. Sounds in nature will move your soul to tears in the true oneness, a vibration with all of nature. So it's all coming as one with nature, like I said. Inverting all together in a paradigm of light will bring you into the oneness energy. That's where we're going. Your belly will not be hungry for human food. Can't make that up, right?
Nope.
Every sense will be alive within you as it was. Okay. Every sense of will be alive within you, so as your vision will change. Right?
That would be nice.
To be in the oneness, the real love. So we're moving into these steps, into these process, and it's not. And I'm telling anybody that spirit, like right now, I mean, if they would have said, well, they never described, well, you have to awake and be in your oneness. They never said, oh, there's a lot of pain with it. There's a lot of headaches with it. There's a lot of dizzying with it. There's like no desire for anything. Nope.
Forget sleeping.
Oh, forget it.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest ones is emotion. People are feeling emotion and they're feeling overwhelmed. And then one of the biggest one is like, they don't want to be near anybody.
Mm-mm.
That's not awake.
Right.
Why isn't anybody talking about this? It's too much information and it's too much independence for them to think on their own again. The sounds of nature will move your soul to tears. And that is hearing nature in a different way, instead of ignoring that frequency that is in tune to some of us when we deal with animals. It's so sensitive, so tender to us, we can't take it. Okay? Of the vibration with all of nature, it's inverted in this paradigm of light, bringing you into the oneness energy. So you're connecting with hearing that, like with nature and animals, and then you're coming online with that in a different frequency. Okay, no one's talking about it. Your belly will not be hungry for human. I ain't called food.
Right, because we don't really have.
No, there's no food here on this planet. Every sense will be alive within you. And we're talking about these shocks, these electrical surges that you're feeling, and like I talked about the jawline and how you're feeling energy move on these areas too. I had a woman today, she goes like, you should just teach a class on all of this so everybody has a list, a checklist they can go off on all these ascension issues, because no one has it. Every sense will be open and alive within you as your vision will change. It's time to be in the oneness of real love. To wake up, to sense animal and nature in that conscience. At that point, you wouldn't want to hurt or harm anything if you woke up like that.
No.
It is it's hard. So we shall move on.
On to the next head scratcher.
So let's go back
We're gonna have 10,000 views on this video because everybody's gonna keep rewatching it.
Well, they should read it over and over, because the fact is that, like I said, they need the information for themselves. They can apply the information, and then they can understand that they're going through this. But no one, literally, there's no one talking about it. They're just they're selling as a commercial process and then not giving you any more details about it at all. I should just do a big seminar on this.
Good.
Okay, so you saw Texas and you saw Louisiana. There's something in here about Florida, and I don't remember. I just read it earlier. So the flooding, we're getting close to that process of the flooding. And I don't know. So I think that was one I pushed out because it was too confusing. But they talked about Florida, New York. What was the other one that I said in there?
You said
Florida, New York. Florida was New York was being aware.
Texas.
Awareness.
New York weak, Florida strain, Texas strong.
Texas strong, Florida weak.
Florida strained, New York weak.
Florida strained, and New York weak.
Weak.
Right? Yep. That was in that translation. And then bring up this again to the red Obey. So those are the lions. I want to bring the picture up. The key is at the bottom there with the blue light. 1, 2. The gold chair. The lion's feet. As it curtain is drawn right here. And then there's always the gatekeeper. So something is important. This is activating. I believe in this process right now. Okay, well, we could stop right here and answer some questions. So,
okay, we had to get. Let's see. Anything on Chicago?
Chicago was all underground, and don't be surprised if you see, like, they're showing that crust, movement on that area, because I think there's a lot underground on that still to go in that area. I believe you can be shocked in some of that area.
And Florida has had that bad flooding. You're going to be having anything else?
Remember, I was talking about the Keys.
Yeah.
That's always going to be. They always said they would be wiped out. Yeah. So Florida, the Keys, Gloria. Yep. And that was the main area that they showed. So Florida was keeping them alert. And most of New York is kind of stuck in a. There's only so many ways out of that city when something happens, and you're dealing with those issues. So the thing is with this process of going through this, I think most people know there's nowhere to go anymore. We're getting down to batten down the hatches. Right, it's the whole process out with the situation and seeing our true history flip up to the surface of the earth or in the skies or around us. Because I saw something on. I'm going to say this again so I can put this to rest. I believe that JFK is a conscience in many ways. And like I said, I don't believe that there's just one vessel that some of these beings contain. And also with some of this angelic presence, that some of these presence from the past are here again to see this done properly. And so just because you see the outside of the shell doesn't mean that's what's on the inside. And I also said, keep an eye on Putin and that chess move that he's going to do. And they said, and you can go back to the videos where they said that it's a move that will save humanity in a different way. So everybody has a part in that process of things. And so, as I said, the shepherd is the ambassador, is the king, the whole process. Don't get caught up in the word king in a futuristic way, because the way that our government is completely gone already in that dismantling phase. I can feel it, sense it, and know it. So when I feel that energy of the JFK of a conscience, It has to do with the purity of the trueness. You know, to get into that type of conscience, you have to be, it's a purity of light, a purity of giving yourself for the mission. And I think that people don't understand that that's not in an ego sense of me or eyes or any of that. It is a sense of this pureness of doing something in the intention of saving. And that is where I think, where I talk about creator and over creators, and the noble ones of understanding that it has to do with your conscience of doing things of purity of the heart. And they already know that. They know your intentions of what you will do and who you are, and what limits you have and what you can be appeased by. And so it had to be a conscience of purity, of goodness, that stays on the goal. So this person can say that they're JFK, and this person can say, you know, how many I don't know on YouTube have said they're JFK and they're all this. I call bullshit, okay? Because let me tell you, I'll look through that conscience and see the trueness. That's what matters. That's what matters. And the effects and the path and how this leads at the end. It's going to be shown.
Yeah.
That's what matters. So, so we'll see at the end, and that's why it's going to be shown. So, why are they attaching to that name? Why so many? Because it's untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I'm just like a shepherd. So, I mean, it's, and that's why Carrie Cassidy thought this other dude that tries to charge money to get on shows was not, no, not at all. And then I hear other ones that say they're Yeshua and that they're working through him. And let me tell you, it doesn't need one vessel to use. It uses itself as that conscience. It doesn't need that. And I've seen that for myself in the past. I've seen that conscience seeing it through bum's eyes. Doesn't need a popular vessel to do that. It has its own conscience, but it has to do with the energy that's behind it and the purity. Again, it's a purity of the truth of what it does.
Right.
Not the title. So if I was Yeshua, I would be a bum on the street, and you would notice the people that will ignore me and walk by me. All will be seen. So, at the end, it all is seen. So let's talk about that looks like to me it's another key. It's in Vegas. It's a square.
Monolith.
Yes, and there I think there were down to 23 of them, and the spirit says 24th is the last number on that process. And I always see them. They're all these levels, like something from something out of Egypt where everything's a plate and then it moves and it shifts. So I think, as I talked about, I think those come from underneath the ground and they are shifting and reflecting in energy, and then they're going to turn on just like those pyramids. And that's what I feel that they are. And I keep hearing the 24. 24 is the last number that they need. So it should be interesting. And that's the whole thing. This is what I tell the people. It doesn't matter what I say. What it matters at the end of this all lines up to the truth. Anybody says, it has to line up to the truth at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
You got the people that don't believe in the flat earth. I don't believe it's completely flat. And then you got people who think it's round. At the end, it's going to be seen, period.
Right.
So that's the whole thing. So now you got these characters playing parts in to get attention, because JFK brings money, brings that name. That's why they're using it, period, on the process. So because they're running out of, there we go, they're running out of intel, they're running out of information, they're running out of stuff that appeases you. They're not using anything. Let's go into these diagrams that I did when I drew Gaia. Remember this one?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Remember, and this was another example of Gaia. Mm-hmm. Flowers that grow from her perception, the root of the earth. All these, because this is how the example of you see them is what they are. The purity of what they're about, the truth. Okay, let me go to Nefertiti's. And they're all after what she has and where it's hidden. So, so the thing is, like I said, the one thing I want them to take away is the fact that what's happening to them, the upgrade that they're getting, where they're going with this. And then I can kind of talk about the present process that we're dealing with right now. If there ever was a time that I feel like we're at this verge, like right here. I'm not going to give you timelines because I don't believe in timelines. I believe in things that are done. There's no room to go. There's nowhere to move. There's no movement that we can go anymore at all. And that's how you need to look at the whole process. What else can they reveal to you? The only thing that needs to go is the film strip needs to start to show the reality of the truth. And it's going to take a while for them to accept what I told you. People will be withdrawn. They don't want to talk about it. They want to ignore it. All again, humanity has to stand up and take care of humanity finally in this process. So we're in a world where there's no more stretching. There's no more to push it to a limit no more. There's no more limit. We're at that limit. So we have to be at this activation point, which you can pretty much sense and feel. And we're all, that first process that happens, that big process that shows and appears itself to us, there will be a relief within our hearts. That we'll all catch our breath into that process. And that's what literally we're waiting for, is just that still moment that does bring you to your knees.
Mm-hmm.
Brings you to that moment in time, is in a still moment and process. But with that moment and process, when that happens, there's going to be resistance to, because it's new, it's something they haven't seen before, and it feels uncomfortable to go through that process. And that's a hard thing for a society that's used to being controlled and contained.
And programmed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody else that can watch TV anymore.
No.
Barely. Because you turn it on, you feel something. You go outside, you feel something. So we're in that process of these issues. And so you're at this time and moment that is so nerve-wracking because it's new. There's not a reference to go back in time to look at that, how it happened then, So that is what makes people feel uncomfortable, because they have to go into something they have to trust in a new way, but they also have to think upon themselves.
Yes, that's the hard part. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a very hard thing to do. So to get to that process, that is the thing. But that's what humanity has to do. It's uncomfortable, but you have to get there.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go back to that instinct that we've been taught as, protecting yourself, but also standing up and evolving yourself and not being afraid or timid. This is where we got in that problem with not protecting our children. Is that program that numb down that process. And that should never have happened. Ever.
Right.
And that is the thing when we look back on this time, what will be the mistake is that the one thing that Creator held dear, and we destroyed it and ignored the pain and the suffering of it. And it should stay with us. To remember to never go through that again.
Right. That can't repeat. No.
There's nothing left to say. What? No. So, so we can go through some more questions if there's any. That's what that series. Don't get me started on that subject because I could cry all night.
Yeah, I just keep moving. one question was, they want to know where all the hot weather's coming from.
Well,
Yeah.
that, if you look at things, I don't feel that it's coming from the ocean at all. Do you? I don't feel like it's coming from. I don't feel it's climate change. So, is it coming from a certain energy, from a certain frequency to? And this is the thing, you're seeing these fires everywhere, and it's not going to stop. Okay, these fires, these certain areas, it's on. How could this happen? Well, I want you to look what's in the ground, or maybe you should have been paying attention what was in the ground in that area, or what needs to be exploded in that area because the people that know that it's there and ignored it. So these are things that have to be dismantled in this process. So, so we're down to dismantling in so many ways. And I already saw, you're seeing rolling outages everywhere. Cell phone, you're seeing, that's what I talked about a long time ago, is these rolling. They're going to be rolling. You want to isolate the enemy. You want to take their power away. You want to take their communication away and isolate them. And that's what's happening. So I never thought it was going to go down like they're trying to describe, because that would cause major chaos. I believe it's in a rolling format. Resistance, maybe, or maybe not resistance. So that's what it's going to tell you in this process.
Right.
So,
you mentioned Florida and Texas, and how about Louisiana?
Yeah, that's on there too, because I've always talked about that level of water that was always going to go back up. It's not comfortable. Process to come to, but it is a process. So yeah, uncomfortable.
Right.
So you got New Mexico fires. You got Texas has a new storm coming.
Yep.
I believe we are going to deal with some major tornado processing on a lot of areas. I believe there's a heat wave on the East Coast, and
yes, there is.
I'd say Indiana would deal with I don't know, just rain and flooding a little bit, but that's not it. Southern Oregon, oh boy. I guarantee you they're going to be drenched in water and maybe have some earthquakes there that they would never thought they would. So, I mean, don't forget you guys can set up sessions to go over the stuff, and then especially with all the ascension stuff, and then go over a lot of the stuff. I'm doing a special on
for this.
For the readings this month because of what's going on. So, so the thing is, I mean, like I said, everybody's like, when? Well, there is no room to go. They know we're at a process. if you want the answer to that, all you have to do is look at the other countries, how they're reacting to us, and how they're looking at our money, and how they're not looking at it in that process anymore. And that tells you where we're going, how fast it's going. You know?
Right.
So are we kind of thinking that if once the banks are done, then that's the process? No, we're already at that process. We're already at that process. So what's what I, you know how I am like challenging people or talking. I like to have a conversation with this, what's the guy named Pastel? What's his name?
Pascal?
Pascal. I would love to bring him on and talk to him and go through a channeling session with him on this, on some of the stuff that they talk about. Yeah, that would be interesting because you know how I am. I like to get close to it and see it and then examine it.
Mm-hmm.
Because people ask me about them, and I just would like to be intrigued by seeing through what spirit sees through on live. You know how I am.
Right.
Not to, see what they say at that time. I like that action moment, how, and it might be just a phenomenal situation of energy, or it could be a different way. But I think I like to be, once I see something that's unusual, I like to get right close to it and figure what's going on right there at that moment. People have asked about them, so, and I've been on the fence because there's something there, and I'd like to get close to it and see what Spirit says about it.
That would be an interesting show.
Wouldn't that be interesting? And I wouldn't be throwing them on a bus like someone else likes to just do, and just because. Yeah. But it would be intriguing, just to listen. And I think it's hard for people when they come with a different narrative of it, and they're comfortable with that narrative, and they're trying to present that information, and someone just like, no, that's too much against what I don't believe in, so I'm not going to allow you to talk about that. I don't like that. You should be able to look at it, view it, and listen to it and see how it resides into the information. Right. So, and I'm just saying that in the way I've had people ask about. So, it's that narrative trying to control and contain, and I don't like that. I'm like, let it be what it is. Let it speak. That's the way I see it.
Are you getting anything about Idaho with the farmland being withheld from water from the government?
Is that from the media? That I saw the other day, and I said, is that from the media? Is that the media saying it? Or I would be more inclined to hear from farmers.
Right. That'd be interesting.
And that's, I would be more inclined to hear from the farmers that are affected in that valley to know the truth. I would not trust anything that they said unless there's an intention in that valley that there's something, which I would go with more of the giant energy between that and Vegas. But that's what I get on the situation. It's a persona.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Someone says Pascal says he's JFK now. Huh. Or the spirit of him. So interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Trace is saying there's a huge cobalt mine there that needs water.
Cobalt mine that needs
Cobalt
water.
mine for
So it would be a mine that they're trying to drown
it's
out
for the
and
lithium
maybe
batteries.
surface.
Yeah.
Maybe. So anyway.
Can you talk about Morocco? Is it going to be okay for relocation?
I think it'll be okay for, yes, relocating, but I don't feel at the present time they're gonna have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And not stress over it, and not freak out about it. She's like, yeah. So I think there's a lot of stuff that's going to surface. That we're by the hour now. It seems like it changes. But like I said, that one thing that's going to push it, and I don't think it's. People always think it's the money, and it's not the money. I think it's the film strip. I really believe that film strip needs to start playing out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't care. Let them start falling down and let them start picking up their puke bucket. But I believe that would be a starting point that needs to happen.
Right.
So yeah, that would be good. So I don't think there's anything else we have for tonight. Questions about probably communicating with humans. Yes, that is true, and it's not that hard. All you have to do is stay in one position, and they know they're into your good intentions already. So you guys call me, set up readings, time if you want to go over these ascension issues or go over that. That would be good, so we can go over that more. But for this week, I'm looking for film strips. I'm looking for credits. I'm looking for the play to end. I'm looking for the real president to stand up. So that would be nice. Where can I find Pascal's channel? Isn't that on Telegram? Is he on Telegram or is he on?
I am not sure where he is, but if someone knows, feel free to put it. Yeah.
I don't know where he's at.
I don't watch him.
Well, I've just had a lot of people talk to me. I'd have to sit down there and ask questions, but I think that would be interesting in a humble way.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, they get so pissed off. You notice when someone new is on the scene and they give a different energy or a different alter information about it, they just all of them just jump on that anger wagon really quick.
Oh yeah.
What are you afraid of? So anyway, I think we're been on there an hour and a half, so I think this is a good review of things, and we'll do some more. But I think it went really well. So you guys know how to contact me. Set meditations, humble healing, all that stuff up. You guys take care. Stay in the light, and remember, we're close at hand.
Yes.
We are.
Take care. Jenny. Thanks, guys.
You too, Jeep.